Hello, elements. I hope you guys are good. Today I actually made 2 videos. This is the second one. I'm on fire, baby. I'm on fuego. Okay, so this one I was just about to leave, but then I was just forced into making this one. I normally make 1 video per day, but this one I feel like it had to be made. I was forced to create this one by my higher self, my guides. So I've realized that most people these days are going through depression. They are going through what most Western doctors are diagnosing as psychosis. So I came here to talk about this, and it's a bit of a sensitive issue, but it has to be said. Eventually somebody has to put it out there. I'm so sad that it has to be me, but then if not me, then who, right? The revelation came to me, and I'd be really not serving my purpose if I wouldn't address this. So oh my god, this is really hard. I hate controversial and subjective issues, because let me just address this, guys. Okay, I'm not attacking anyone and I'm not defending anyone. Let me just put that as a disclaimer. Slavery happened, right? It did. Those years ago, right? So those white people are dead and gone. So it would not be fair to put the blame on the ones that are alive now, force them to reimburse us in some sort. I don't know what the stipend is called for reimbursing us, because now we're behind as Africans and black people. We're behind when it comes to development and all that, right? They are leading. What I hate the most about the brutal truth topics is the fact that you then have to poke and point fingers here and there as if you are perfect and all that, yet that's not it. I hate taking sides. That's why I'm going to address both sides at the same time, right? So firstly, white people, and it was their great grandfathers and forefathers who did this, right? So it would be wrong for us as black people to blame them, right? As a human race, we are one. We are human beings. Hence, that's why I never see color. Like, it's just in me. I was once told that it's impossible not to see color. I'm one person who never sees color. As long as I'm a human being or a fellow human being, I do not see black and white. That's why I hate these racial topics, division of religions. We're only divided by things that were brought to life by human beings, which are called societal norms and standards. Why are we allowing that to divide us, though? Okay, but then I'm not here for that. So it happened for 500 years. We lost our spirituality, we lost our identity, right, in the process as black people, because that happened. So as black people believed that if a relative died, they become an ancestor, which means they go into the spiritual realm and take care of those left behind. That's what they used to believe before colonization, right? And as I said in my previous video, whatever you make up here, whatever you believe, comes into reality, manifests, that it actually becomes real. It actually becomes a reality. So if those people who died a long time ago believed in that and it actually happened, it was actually true, it was actually there, because they created it with their heads. So if they died then, and as they are waiting on the spiritual realm, I'm not saying I believe in that, I'm just saying that they created it and it's true. It was created, it manifested. So what those people who died and are now on the other side, according to their belief of spirituality, they're in the spiritual realm looking down upon us, and they do not recognize us. They are seeing these people who have taken up other people's religion, like who are lost to them. They are not able to see us anymore, right? So at first, when colonization happened, there was a trigger. Some people became diseased, most people became psychotic, but then since it was those days whereby this thing was still there, people were still relating to their previous beliefs and culture, they were able to tame this thing. A person would become psychotic and then give him or her the herbs to tame this thing, and it became okay. Like it was tamed, it was in control, right? As time went by, these people who were able to mix these herbs and tame these things were phased out, and now we were left with pure Christians, people who actually believed in this colonization religion. Spirituality and African religion gone. Now we're left with a foreign religion. So people would then get psychotic, nobody would help them, and the Christians were there to label it as a demon, put hands onto that person, and then this thing it made a mark in the person's head that, oh, it's a demon. The only way to tame it is to go, oh, I'm going Christian religion. And the moment you put your head into something, it will obviously manifest. I swear to you. So that's how people actually and 100% converted into foreign religion, leaving behind their native religion. Right? So these things of psychotic, the spiritual realm, our spiritual realm as Africans, tried to be in contact with us, but they couldn't reach us because we're now foreign objects. They cannot communicate. Even if they try to communicate to us and the communication is successful, that communication will be labeled as a demon because of the way the person acted out the communication into this physical realm. And that person will be put hands upon and prayed upon until the person believed that, oh, if I have this kind of disease, this is what I have to do. And the moment that person created that, it actually worked. So communication was cut off like that with our native as Africans. I'm not comfortable really doing this thing because I really hate division. We are human beings. One, why are we divided according to religion, skin color and all that? Why? But then, since we're there, and I have to address this thing bit by bit until maybe almost everyone is woke for me to just spill out everything. So now I just have to introduce it gently. According to society, we're divided, right? According to black and white. So let's continue. So we're cut off from our native guides. Now we have guides from the West, right? Our great grandparents that were colonized passed it on to the next generation and on to the next generation and on to until it was completely cut off. That tried to communicate with us, and a person would be psychotic because of the way he acted it out into the physical realm. That would be preyed upon, and then they'd believe that, oh, okay, this thing really works, right? So it was taken up. Now, the past few years happened, right? It started off as something really minor. What I'm about to say is really controversial, and most people will come for me for this, but then I have to say it. I really hate brutal truth sessions, but then if not me, then who will address this issue? Okay, so most people actually woke up. It was 2015, the year I know of. I was still asleep by then. I wasn't really asleep, but I had questions, but I didn't know who to ask. I'd ask my mom, because my mom was extremely religious, and she understood this Christianity thing way better, because she was brought up under it too, by priests and priestess, if there's anything like that. So I'd ask her, and she'd be like, no, we do not talk about that. We don't talk about Bruno, no, not a word about Bruno. So I used to ask controversial topics like, what about this? I will not phrase these topics out, because it will feel like a religion. I'm coming after a certain religion, but no. I'd ask, why is this done like this? How is this done like this? And then she'll be like, no, that's being blasphemy, and what, it's blasphemy, blah 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 blah, you see. So I internalized my questions. I was woke ever since I was in primary, but then I decided to keep quiet, because I then came to understand that this is not asked. Bruno is not talked about. We never talk about Bruno. Not a word about Bruno. So 2015, people started taking up African spirituality, and I'll be like, oh, madimoni, you see, that's demonic. So at first I was like, oh, that's demonic, but then I was like, is it though? Right? So when people started taking up African spirituality, like tracing, initiation, becoming sangoma, and all that, I sensed a certain energy in the atmosphere that something is happening now, right? So that's when this thing started. By the time COVID hit, I had sensed that there's something coming, but then that's a story for another day. So COVID hit, we couldn't go to churches, right? But then these initiates and traditional healers and African prophets, they were still practicing, right? So imagine now the foreign religion or spirituality is put on pause. Now whatever is going on is African spirituality, and it's coming back by full force. Imagine those hundreds and hundreds of years coming back in full force, because it's the only thing being practiced at the moment. I'm talking about during COVID time, because churches were shut down and the foreign spirituality was put at pause. Now the African spirituality is in motion, and it's in motion on its own, alone. No other is in motion, right? So these guys, they kept like, yes, everything is back. We're back. We're coming back now. Oh, they remember us. We're resuming now. And imagine how many people have died since colonization, which we haven't acknowledged. How long has this thing been put in pause until it's acknowledged? How many years later? Imagine the force it will come back with. So that's what happened. So that's why everybody is becoming psychotic, and these weird deaths and all that. That's why it's happening. So I'm here to address that. I didn't think this was time, but then, just a sneak peek, I lost a sister 2020 due to this thing. That's a story for another day. What really happened, what actually happened, word for word and step by step, is a story for another day. We'll come back to it. But then right now, all I'm saying is people are dying, and I'm really trying to reach out to them that please do not fight this. If you hear voices, just sit down and meditate. I'll make a video about meditation. Sit down and meditate. I have to make it real quick though, but then just sit down. I'll just pick up a bits and pieces here and there. Sit down and meditate. Be like, okay, just sit. Do not mind whatever you're feeling in the physical realm. I know it's hard, but then just be strong. Be strong for the sake of everybody around you, for the sake of the people who love you. It's not a demon. Please just sit down and meditate. Be like, okay, I'm feeling this. I acknowledge that it's a message from the spiritual realm. Tell me, guys, what are you trying to say to me? Right? Do not fight it, because the more you fight it, the ego fights back. It's the ego fighting against the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm is too powerful. You will not win. The ego will not win. And if the ego dies, it means that the physical self also dies. So please, this is not demonic, and it's not a demon trying to come after Africans and killing Africans, or the people of the now, because I don't know, maybe even other people are dying out there, like who people who are not Africans. But then for now, what I'm saying is, because I'm in Africa and I'm an African, I'm seeing more of Africans dying. I don't know. I don't know about the world at large. But then since COVID and since everything, people have been psychotic and all that. And what my guides have been telling me is that it's 500 years catching up on us. We lost so much knowledge, and now it's coming back full force, and we don't know how to interpret it because nobody is there to explain it for us. All those people who were enslaved or who lived before colonization are now all gone. Who are we going to ask? Who are we going to get this information from? So what we have to do is just listen, sit down, meditate, be like, okay, I know I'm brutally getting a message, but then what are you trying to tell me? Do not try to fight it. It's not a demon. It's a message from your guides. It's a message from the people, those who believe in ancestors. It's a message from the people who died in the past. They're trying to reach out to us. Maybe I think maybe it's a dawn of a new era. I do not know. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a guru. I'm not really. I'm a nobody really. But it's just that I'm just a nobody who's getting messages, and I'm trying to help. I don't know how to. So please, help me guys, help minimize these deaths. It's too much. I have received the message, so please, if you know anyone who's going psychotic, just work with them, take them to therapy, because apparently we're now westernized, so we cannot fight that. It's okay, let's embrace our western self. I myself I'm horrible at speaking my own language. I use English most of the time. So yes, it's already happened. We've been colonized, we've lost everything. Boo-hoo, pity party, it's over. The pity party is over. Now let's face reality, embrace what we already have, and work with that to bring back our beings. We cannot change the past. We cannot crucify anyone anymore. It's left upon us. The ball is in our court. Let's use what's already there to change the narrative. We've been colonized. We don't know anything about anything, but then we still have a language, right? We can still communicate. I'm using English to speak. I'm using mostly English to communicate. But then who dies? You can hear me, right? You can comprehend. Life is still moving on. Nothing has failed, even though there are things that have happened, things we've lost, things that are adverse impacts. But then, so what do we do? Do we sit down and throw the pity party? Do we? No, we can't. Right now, this thing is an emergency. It's a state of urgency. We have to address this thing. Our guides are coming back to us by full force. What do? Do we blame it on the white people? Do we blame it on what happened in the past? Blame will not work anymore. Let's stand up and change the narrative. Bring back our spirituality, bring back our beings, bring back ourselves. It's already happened. It's done. It's happened. Let's use what we already have in our hands to fix the past and shape the future. So yes, you are not sick. It's not a demon. You're not psychotic. Relax. Okay? People like us are here for you. There are a lot of people like me in the world. Some of them you guys are calling demons. If you can just sit, and if you're strong enough, there are people, I'm not saying I'm strong enough, but I discovered this thing on my own. I had to sit down and meditate and be like, you know what, if this thing is really from the spiritual realm, and it's really not a demon, I'm sitting now, I'm listening. What are you trying to transmit to me as a message? And they told me that's the dawn of a new era. We are back. Your higher self is coming back to you, but then it's coming back brutally because you've been ignoring it for the past how many years. So it's back. Listen to it. This is how you're going to move forward. This is how you're going to break the chains. This is how you're going to break generational curses. Just listen. Your higher self knows what happened to you in the past to be where you are today. We are behind as Africans. We are behind as the African race because of the setback that happened. It happened and it's okay. Everything happens for a reason. Nothing is a mistake. It happened so that maybe in the 21st century we can be even better people. Right? We are not in competition with the white people, by the way. You are in competition with yourself. You are in competition with your own happiness, right? And as black people, we are not happy. We're just going through a major dissatisfaction. So now this thing is back to give us satisfaction and peace. Not wealth, not anything. Wealth is not the answer. Most wealthy people are the most depressed. So please, listen. Break the chains, break generational curses. Achieve your peace and happiness. Achieve your peace and happiness, and satisfaction will follow. It's time to listen, fellow Africans. Come back.